Because the question, I think, is how will playoff final defeat affect Sheffield United? And I thought, oh, what's happened recently? So the one the Blades fans will love is Leeds, obviously, last year, lost in the final, third against fourth as well, after a high points total, and then came back roaring to the title the following year, in spite of selling Gray and Rutter and Somerville. Season before, Coventry, who obviously weren't a parachute team, sold Hamer and Gyökeres, finished ninth the next season. Season before that, Huddersfield, where Corberon then walks, doesn't he, before the season. And, O'Brien went, didn't he? Toffolo went. Some loan players went. And, the team just got ripped to shreds, didn't it? 18th, they finished. And the last one kind of coming out of COVID, Sam, was Swansea. Lost to Brentford in the final. I can't read my own handwriting. 15th, 61 points. God, 61 points would have got you about ninth last season, wouldn't it? But talk to me about Sheffield United, the playoff final, and which of those scenarios you can see for them going into year 2 of their parachute payments.
It's difficult to suggest how they're going to look. There's kind of a part of me that just thought they'd get it done. Sheffield United this year with the points deficit, the squad that Chris Wilder was able to put together, very impressively so, I think, with a lot of uncertainty about them going into last season. They wouldn't have been up there, I don't think. They probably would have been outside the top 3, top 4 in terms of the bookies' odds immediately prior to the season, before they put their squad together. And then they cherry pick some really excited signings as the squad accumulated over the last few weeks of the window, early part of the season. All of a sudden, the tone around them just completely changed. So they came in, I think, with a little bit of maybe, I wouldn't say underdog spirit, but maybe the anticipation of it being a season where they didn't get automatic promotion or promoted via the playoffs. So it gathered momentum, and I think Chris Wilder was key to that. I suppose I'm saying all this because not that he won't have the fire for it, but I think it's going to be hard for him to go again next season. And I just think he's been an elite manager. He's kind of had that Sheffield United team under the guise of the kind of back three with the flying outside centre halves, attack the Premier League with vigour. He's back in the Championship, everything that it brings. He's going to have to maintain his level of motivation and desire. And he's a real character.
Sam, to his credit, sorry to interrupt, his 2 rivals scored 100 points, and I don't think lost back-to-back games, either of them, all season. And Sheffield United had one really bad week in the running. That was it. Yeah. That was the difference, yeah?
I suppose why I'm bringing Chris Wilder in straight away, I'm not questioning his desire or anything, but I just think he would have...
No, I agree. I see what
you're saying. He would have loved
to
have just got it done, got it done and dusted, get back in the Premier League and then kind of evolve. As it is, he's back in the Championship. And he's spoken often, actually, about implementing a new style this season in comparison to the one I just spoke of and what they were in the Premier League latterly when... again, he's spoken in comparison to what they were the back end of last season, which is a shadow of what they showed during this Championship campaign. So I'm interested to see what they're going to look like tactically as well, putting aside the new players that will inevitably come in and go out. So that's something to keep an eye on. I think they'll challenge. It's far too early to put my neck on the line.
Never too early, Sam.
Yeah, to put my neck on the line, but they're going to be in a cluster of clubs at the top of the reckoning with the bookies, the 3 teams that come down. You 100% put Coventry.
Third in the betting.
You'd 100% put Coventry in there, I think, Birmingham, given the way that they finished the season. Sheffield United, of course, and then you've got a cluster of teams, big clubs as well that underachieved last year, like West Brom, like Middlesbrough, like Norwich, and I'd probably pop Birmingham in that little group. They could do better.
The bookies agree with you, Sam. You've got it nailed on there, mate.
Yeah, you could be a bit bolder with your predictions about Birmingham, but I think right now you probably put them in that cluster of teams that could have a push for the playoffs. But Sheffield United, wait and see what the squad's looking like, and inevitably they might struggle to hit the ground running because
can I
it
quiz
can
you
be
on that,
tough.
Sam?
And yeah,
I've written down 4 names: Ahmed Hodzic, Harmer, Sousa, Cooper. How many do you think will be sold? And which order would you kind of sell them in? Who would you kind of least like to sell out of? I think I'd like to keep Sousa the most if I was Sheffield United, just because he's so consistent. But then you got a keeper in there as well. You got an entire spine of a team really there, haven't you? Cooper, Ahmed Hodzic, Sousa, and Harmer as the attacker. Who do you most like to keep, and how many do you think they'll sell?
That's a really good question because I'm not sure, how concrete all the interest is. On the centre half front, you've got Suter to come back in, haven't you, at some stage this season? Arblaster
Well, he was on
as
loan
well.
though, wasn't he?
Oh, good point.
He was on loan from Leicester, wasn't he?
Good point. Yeah. Arblaster, he's certainly
player,
someone that missed a long spell of the season. So him to come back in. Sousa went from a bit of a figure of fun, didn't he, in the Premier League days latterly into such a imperative part this year. Right, I think Cooper could do worse than sticking around for another year. I think that he's just joined Sheffield United, a huge club from Argyle, probably a little bit later than he should have done, given his quality. So, yeah, Sousa maybe. Sousa probably most important to hang on to. Then Harmer, maybe Ahmed Hodzic would feel that this is a time that he could move on, which would be a loss, of course, because I really like him. But I think that feels like the most inevitable one. I don't know how concrete, again, the interest is, but he's done, 3 or 4 years, and not to have got promoted last season may be quite tough for him to swallow.
Could you do a whole season with Arblaster and Peck? Surely they'd need to, if Sousa went, they'd need to spend a bit in central midfield then, wouldn't they, given those two are so young?
Yeah. Trying to think who else they had playing.
Chowdhury, yeah, he was really good for them.
He played it. I thought he was brilliant in the playoff final. Actually, I thought he was excellent. And sometimes I've questioned the decision to deploy him at right back, but I thought he was terrific. So yeah, listen, they'll be well stocked, however they attack it. But yeah, I mean, Harmer's been so influential for them this year because they were a little bit stodgy at times to watch, and he's always, whether it's coming from the bench or starting games, just a little bit of gold dust, I suppose.
And just amazing, Sam, the second time you see him step out of a playoff final and his team are looking good when he steps out and he has to watch them lose from the bench.
Yeah, well, I thought he was the best player by a distance in the playoff final. And I think sometimes when you watch him live, he's encapsulating. And I thought that, even the assist was phenomenal. But the all-round game, he hardly wastes a pass. And when he is wasting a pass, it's in the final third when he's trying to penetrate and he sees a pass and not many would. So a bit of a maverick. I think we've spoken about him often on the podcast that you're not going to get that probably discipline going back towards your own goal. But in terms of what he can open up with his vision and his technique, outstanding. And yeah, probably time he got a shot at the Premier League, isn't it?
Round it out then, Sam. So what are we saying? That it's going to take something to come back from it, but they should have the tools. And like all of these clubs, if they're going to... Everyone who loses in the playoff final loses players, but you just got to get it done quickly and, get yourself ready for the start of August. Because if it's the same again, Sam, and everyone's scoring 90, 95, 2 teams with 100 points, you can't start slowly if you're a parachute team, can you?
No, of course not. And yeah, it could affect them a little bit, the manner of that defeat. It's going to be, probably the hardest summer that a lot of those players will have experienced in terms of their football career. Certainly the period we're in now, there'll be a lot of getting over it. But yeah, if we jump ahead, to next spring, I would fully expect them to be within touching distance of automatic promotion as they were during this campaign. As to whether they can do it, we'll have to wait and see how the relegated teams in particular adapt and what their squads are looking like. But yeah, Sheffield United, I don't have any concerns that they're going to drop out of the top 6, for example.
Get in the comments then. Sheffield United, are they going to do a Leeds and immediately bounce back from playoff final defeat and win the league the next season? Are they going to do a Coventry and get damaged by key kind of departures? Or are they going to do a Huddersfield and completely collapse and everything fall apart and finish 18th? Let us know down there in the comments. Sam,